So Team Cherry finally decided to stop fooling around and give us the long-awaited sequel to the very, very good indie game Hollow Knight. It came out all the way in 2017, so people basically waited 8 years for this. The hype was definitely expected and stuff, but we really had no idea what we were about to get into. Because literally the second they hit the release button, Steam and from what I know also all the other shops like the Nintendo eShop, PSN store and stuff, they all just crashed. And yeah, no one could buy the game because everyone at the same time were trying to buy the game.
All right, there you go. Yeah, it's back. It's back. That's crazy. It broke Steam for a little bit. Oh, it worked for a second. It was working for a second, dude. Like, what is this, bro? What is this? What does a man have to do?
So that unfolded in a lot of people crying and whining. Probably just as much people as there were crying of joy when they announced that the game was only gonna be $20 and that's it. Yeah, but I can probably say we made it. We escaped the pandemic. Steam is up again. Silksong is finally available in all stores. So you're probably wondering, is the game any good? And that's exactly what today's video is gonna be about. So let's get right into it. So first of all, we can say that Team Cherry has come a very long way ever since the release of their first title. Because while the original Hollow Knight didn't really raise too much attention when it first released, Silksong on the other hand is now literally the first thing I see when I open Steam. And with reaching 500,000 concurrent players in the first hours after its release, I think it's safe to say that this game has set a staple for all indie games out there, and maybe gaming industry in general. And it is probably also the dream of success that every game developer dreams about at night. Essentially, Hollow Knight is a action platformer Metroidvania, which means it's a 2D or 5D adventure game in a non-linear, however still connected world in which your objectives surround unlocking game mechanics and finding items that help you proceed through a big variety of areas. And speaking of areas, the area design we get in Silksong is nothing shy of its predecessor. The puzzles are very fun, it seems like there is always more to explore, and the game tempts you to go through each and every area very slowly and pay attention to your surroundings because you don't want to miss anything. And honestly, if a game manages to get you to that point where you don't want to miss any singular part of the game, it's already a very promising sign. The combat feels very sophisticated and much smoother and preciser than the original, and brings of course new movesets and combo options, which are not only a nice change but make the game seem very complete instead of rushed and unfinished like some titles we've seen this year. Though I gotta say, one complaint I've heard about a lot is the new down attack, because back in the old game we had a straight down slash, and yeah, in the new one they changed that to a diagonal slash, which sometimes makes it more difficult to time it correctly. Concerning enemies in terms of movement and variety, all I can say is, so far, that they have become way more difficult to fight. But in a good way. Even the smallest troops and seemingly unimportant enemies often have a moveset variety from 2 to 4 moves and beyond, which makes any enemy encounter really feel more unique and thus doesn't annoy you as much when fighting an enemy type for, yeah, just for longer, like multiple times, also during farming sessions and stuff. But even that doesn't happen a lot. The enemy variety in general is very bright, and you're greeted with fresh designs, gimmicks, and challenges in every area really you go in. That of course also counts for the bosses, especially for the bigger ones that are like sort of the area closing fights, so say the fights you need to overcome to finish an area. They are, visually stunningly appealing, probably the most fun fights in all of Hollow Knight. But I need to add that especially in the beginning of the game, I feel like there are too many gank fights. Or gank boss fights, that is. At least in my opinion. But I've never really been a fan of those in any game whatsoever. Build variety wise, the game has earned themselves yet another plus because unlike Hollow Knight, where basically every player had the same build for their knight since all abilities were available at the same time, in Silksong you can actually have a way bigger build variety through the added equipable tools like throwables and the crests that can change your moveset as well as give you specific buffs. In regards to the overall gameplay, the game plays itself more linear than the last one without losing the vibe of the big world exploration. It gives the player a cool moveset, including dash, float, sprint, and wall jump mechanics, which can be a bit tricky in the beginning, but they offer tons of creative and cool ways to complete all of the difficult platforming areas, and I think also have a lot of potential for like, you know, all the speedrunners and Silksong pros that will evolve throughout the next weeks and months. And yeah, what people are a bit skeptic of, though, myself included, is the new quest system that often requires you to farm a certain amount of items from enemies. To most, this seems a bit outdated for quest design, especially for a game that is as unique and fantastic in all of the other parts of the game. Overall, very good game, very much worth its 20 bucks. Actually, probably the most worth you can get out of a $20 game at the moment. So, I would definitely recommend checking it out. And also, you don't need to be afraid to try it if you haven't played Hollow Knight yet, because you actually don't need any knowledge of the original game at all. With that, I'm going to end today's video. I hope you enjoyed. If so, leave a like and subscribe, you know, all that good stuff, and tell me your thoughts on the game down below in the comment section. I wish everyone a great, wonderful rest of your day. Bye bye.